I want to submerge that chitti gari with all that rich goodness of that curry, of that kodi kura. Oh, I love the creaminess of that dish. That paneer is soft, and combined with that malai, combined with the nourishment of that spinach and the flavor of that fenugreek, makes for an interesting vegetarian dish. So you're tasting the gongura masala in the meat, but I think what you want to do, combine it with some of that rice to add some of that munchy gongura hit. You know, there's so many dishes that I have, but if I didn't have any of that and I just had some of this pulka and this kodi vepudu, that would make for a satisfying meal too, all by itself. Namaskara folks, this is Kripalamana, Gourmet on the Road, and you're watching Food Lovers TV. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe and strong. Welcome to another Gourmet on the Road takeaway lunch. Today we're going to be tasting some Andhra fare, but also with a few things mixed in. So I've heard of this restaurant called Zamindar Restaurant. At its heart, it is an Andhra restaurant. So over the last few months or perhaps a year, they've become extremely popular for their Andhra fare and also for the combos that they offer. So in fact, I've had it in my mind to visit Zamindar for a long time, but thanks to the prevailing situation, one hasn't been able to do so. So today I've taken the liberty to order for some dishes from Zamindar Restaurant. So we're going to be tasting mostly Andhra dishes, but with a few other influences mixed in as well. So let's get to the table on this Gourmet on the Road takeaway lunch. Well, we're on the table finally, and I must tell you, I can't wait to get back to restaurants and do my Gourmet on the Road shows, because the one thing that really gets to me when I'm doing a Gourmet on the Road takeaway is unpacking all the food and placing it in my own serveware. And of course, that's not it. By the time I do all that, by the time I do my videography, some of the food has also cooled down. Then I need to warm it up yet again. So I can't wait to get back to restaurants, to eateries, and commence our Gourmet on the Road show. But anyways, for now, here we are at home. It's also raining outside, and therefore I think the flavors that we're going to be tasting today, the flavors of Andhra. Of course, when you say Andhra, you're talking about Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So I think the spicy flavors of the food that we will taste today will definitely hit the spot on a rainy Bengaluru afternoon. So what do we have on the table today from Zamindar Andhra Restaurant? This is a dish that I'm looking forward to tasting. This is the kodi kura and the chitti gari. This is a very traditional Andhra dish. So what is the dish all about? So firstly, you have the kodi kura, which is basically the chicken curry. So kodi is chicken and kura is a curry. You have a rich chicken curry, and this is chicken on the bone, so it's going to be flavorful. And the combination to that are these vades, or what they call as the chitti gari. Chitti is small, garelu or the gari is the vade. And the way to eat this, I'm told, is that you soak these garelus, these chitti tiny cute garelus, into that kodi kura and make a meal of it. So out here in Karnataka, we love a vade with chutney and the sambar, but in Andhra, chicken lovers will love this. They do the chitti gari with the kodi kura. Staying with tradition, we're moving to another very traditional ingredient, which is the gongura or the sorrel. And I must tell you, the folks in Andhra Pradesh, the folks in Telangana can create magic with that sorrel, with that humble leaf. And this is a gongura mutton biryani. When I look at this biryani and I see some of that gongura paste and I look at some of the chilies sticking out, I know this is going to be a spicy, flavorful sort of a biryani. This is a biryani that I'm certainly looking forward to tasting. And for the vegetarians, pachi michi paneer pulao. Pachi michi is green chilies, and green chilies combined with paneer to make this pulao. I'm looking forward to tasting this too. And keeping that vegetarian dish company is a dish that doesn't really find its roots in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, but this is the methi chaman, a dish of some palak, some fenugreek and some paneer, and therefore the methi chaman. So this restaurant, in addition to the Andhra specialities that they do, they also do some multi-cuisine food where you have some kebabs, you have some food from the north, etc. And that's where a dish like the methi chaman fits in. And the other thing that the restaurant is very popular for is their combos. And when it comes to takeaway, they do a very special combo, and this is a combo of some appetizers and a biryani. So for the sum of rupees 299, you get 3 chicken appetizers. You have the Kodi Vepudu. So of course, when it comes to Andhra, they love their chicken fry, and that is the Kodi Vepudu. We're in Bengaluru, so therefore they also have some chicken kebab. And for those who want to taste something slightly different, they have a Hong Kong chicken. So the interesting thing, and I think which is what makes the restaurant popular, Zamindar popular, is that in addition to their Andhra dishes, they also mix it with some of the other popular crowd-pleasing sort of fare. And I think that's where a dish like the Hong Kong chicken comes in. And this combo, in addition to the chicken appetizer, also includes a Hyderabadi biryani. This, I'm told, is a traditional Kachi style of Hyderabadi biryani. So for rupees 299 or so, if I'm not mistaken, you get the chicken appetizers and you also get yourself some biryani. This combination, I'm told, is available only if you order directly from the restaurant, not through one of the ordering apps. And the eatery recommended that I must definitely try this other biryani. This is their special chicken boneless biryani. Boneless pieces of biryani that goes into the traditional Hyderabadi rice, and this of course is topped with a Kodi Guddu, or the egg as they call it in Telugu. I think we'll make a beginning with some of that methi chaman. That's a thick vegetable preparation. You have the nutrition of the spinach, but then also the creaminess of some paneer. And I suspect there's probably also some malai or some cream that goes into it. And let's also help ourselves to some of the chicken appetizers, some of the Kodi Vepudu. I want to get some of that curry leaf, and if possible, some of that chili too. In Bengaluru, so you have to do the kebab. And whilst we are at it, I think let's also take a stab at this Hong Kong chicken. Well, this certainly is an interesting plate. You've got the Kodi Vepudu from Andhra. You've got the Bengaluru chicken kebab, or the kebab as we call it. You have a methi chaman that has traveled all the way from the north. And then you have a dish that has aspirations for the Far East, the Hong Kong chicken. And I think combinations like these make meals in a multi-cuisine restaurant interesting. Of course, typically when you go to a traditional restaurant, you're tasting only one cuisine. But sometimes when you go to a multi-cuisine restaurant, you're mixing different cuisines. And I think that too can be interesting in its own way. We also have some ghee fulka that's been sent by the restaurant. And I think that ghee fulka will make for an interesting combination with that methi chaman. I can definitely taste the flavor of that kasuri methi. And I think there's some green chili too in that, because I think I just bit into a sliver of one, and I can certainly taste the heat. But thankfully, you have the creaminess, that thick creaminess of that paneer. That paneer which is almost like a burji of sorts, that paneer that's almost amalgamated into this gravy, along with some malai. Well, that's a tasty dish. I thought I would just taste it once and move very quickly to the other meaty items, but no. That methi chaman is inviting me for another bite or two. Oh, I love the creaminess of that dish. That paneer is soft, and combined with that malai, combined with the nourishment of that spinach and the flavor of that fenugreek, makes for an interesting vegetarian dish. Also a sliver of ginger that I bit into. And those fulkas are soft, not the sort that tug on the bite at all. I think there's also some seasoning of some zeera that I can taste in this. And there's perhaps also some cashew nut that's gone in to thicken that preparation. I think I'm also biting into tiny slivers of garlic. If you're a vegetarian and you like your paneer and you like your palak and methi, definitely a dish that you should consider. The methi chaman. Let's move next to the Kodi Vepudu, or the chicken fry. I can see some coriander, plenty of curry leaves in here. Also some pachi mirchi, which is the green chili. And this is chicken that's cooked on the bone. I can taste the flavor of the masala. Some dhania, some coriander. And also bit into a soft chicken bone. This is sort of chicken bone that you can chew on repeatedly, and it rewards you with the flavors of the vepudu. You can taste the flavor of the onion, which forms a base for this vepudu. So when they talk about a Andhra style vepudu, it's not a typical fry in oil. The base for a typical vepudu is lots of onions, and into that onion goes lots of karvepappu, some chilies as well, and then of course the masalas, the spices that come in. So the vepudu will also have a bit of a masala coating it, which also makes for a great combination with either some annam, the rice, and some charu or gravy or a rasam, or if you have a soft ghee fulka like this too. You can take some of that vepudu along with the green chilies, the curry leaves, some garlic as well, the veluli, and of course the warmth of the allam or the ginger, and that makes for a tasty bite. What I also like is that the chicken is moist. It's not dried out in the least at all. And that moistness comes from the onions, as that chicken is roasted in that browned onions along with the spices. I can also feel the warmth of some pepper. I think they call it the miripakai, if I'm not mistaken. You know, there's so many dishes that I have. But if I didn't have any of that and I just had some of this pulka and this kodi vepudu, that would make for a satisfying meal too, all by itself. Let's move next to that chicken kebab. That's a standard chicken kebab. Of course, because the kebab is deep fried, it tends to suffer a bit when you don't eat it piping hot. But having said that, makes it a tasty bite. I can taste the flavor of some of the spices. I can definitely taste the flavor of some of the coriander, the toasted curry leaves. The chicken though is moist. And I think when it comes to a chicken kebab, that batter is what has all the masala, is what has all the spices, the curry leaves, some green chili, the red chili powder, and of course all the other spices that go into it. You don't mind if there's a little more of that batter, because that means you have a bit of an oomph in the flavor that the chicken conveys on the bite. Also, that chicken has been marinated in that masala for some time, and you can see that in the color from the masala that has seeped into the chicken to a certain extent. There's also a bit of the crunch that I'm tasting from the batter, but I can also feel the spice of that red chili powder, the karam of the red chili powder in this chicken kebab. I think this chicken kebab is calling for the companionship of that fulka, and since I have some of that methi chaman still on my plate, why not make a trio of that ghee fulka, the methi chaman, and that chicken kebab. That spicing of the chicken kebab now has submitted quite tamely to that dairy richness of that methi chaman. I'm going to taste a bit of the fulka just by itself to wash off some of the spices before I taste that Hong Kong chicken. This I think is boneless chicken coated in a cornstarch batter and then tossed with some sauces, tossed with some peppers. I can see some red chili, plenty of onion and coriander. I can taste a bit of the sweetness that perhaps comes from the tomato sauce. So I guess if you've had something too spicy, I think that's where that Hong Kong chicken will come to your rescue. Slightly sweetish, masaledar Sino-Indian flavor. The batter in this Hong Kong chicken is perhaps a tad more than it should be to my liking. And I think that's where the crunch, the fresh crunch of that capsicum comes in. With its juicy vegetable goodness to remove all trace of that cornstarch batter. Next, we're going to go for that Kodi Kura Chitti Gari. I want to submerge that chitti gari with all that rich goodness of that curry, of that Kodi Kura. And in the ideal world, you would let that gari soak up the goodness of that chicken curry for a few minutes before you proceed to savor it. Andhra Garelu, unlike the Karnataka vade, I think is a lot denser. Perhaps to also accommodate the weight of that kodi kura, the weight of that chicken curry. You know what? I'm not tasting any of the flavors of the garelu. I'm tasting only the flavor of that chicken curry. Oh, there's a certain sweetness in that chicken curry from the onions. You can taste the toasty flavors of the karve pappu or the curry leaves. That garelu serves only as the medium to carry those flavors to your mouth. There's no crispy crunch that you taste in this garelu. Of course, also the fact that it's left the restaurant a while ago to make the journey here. But what I'm tasting is mostly the rich flavors of that chicken curry. That chicken has soaked up the flavor of that masala. I want to taste this ghari just by itself, just to figure out what it's all about. There's definitely some fried onion in there. There's some coriander as well. But this is a sort of vade that is meant to sing in harmony with that curry. By itself doesn't have too much of an identity, but its sole purpose is to come together in a delicious union with that kodi kura. Not even the chicken, just that kura, just the curry, because that curry has soaked up all the flavors of that masala. The slight savory sweetness of the onions, a bit of the punch of the garlic. There's some oil too that's floating to the top of this curry, perhaps from some chicken skin, perhaps from some of the fat of that chicken. And that's really what gives purpose to that chitti ghari. I can taste the flavor of some of the whole spices that have probably gone into this chicken curry. Well, I have a fresh plate to make a fresh start with the palau and the biryani. So out here we have the pachi mirchi paneer pulao. There's flecks of green chili. I think that green chili has been crushed into a paste and then tossed with some biryani rice and of course also some paneer. And I think we will also taste some of that special boneless chicken biryani. Let's make a beginning with the pachi mirchi or the green chili paneer pulao. I'm going to taste the rice first just by itself. Also as a matter of habit, I don't know what flavor paneer will impart to the rice, unlike meat. But it's a habit for me. Whenever I'm tasting a pulao or a biryani, I want to taste the rice first and see what that rice has to convey to my palate. And that is a spicy green chili flavor bomb. I think what's interesting here is that when you place it in your mouth, in a few moments, that green chili makes its presence felt. But it's not the sort of searing heat that stays on, at least not on the first bite. Perhaps as I have bite after bite, I may change that opinion about this pulao. But in the very first instance, you get that singe of that green chili heat that also seems to disappear soon after. Let's go for that second bite of that green chili or the pachi mirchi paneer pulao. I think the rice is also cooked with some of the whole spices because you can also taste some of the flavor of that. Let's go now for that paneer. I think this paneer is probably lightly sauteed in a pan before it's tossed with that pachi mirchi masala and that rice. So I think this is probably more of a tawa sort of a pulao. I think the role of the paneer, in addition to providing protein, I think is also to help tone down some of that chili heat. To me, the rice in this pulao is what packs that zabardast punch. And when you savor some of that paneer with that pachi mirchi flavored rice, that paneer helps tone down some of the heat of that green chili. And because that paneer is sauteed first, that paneer holds its form even as you bite into it. I think they probably don't put too much of the green chili seed in that because after tasting the fresh spiciness of the green chili, you're not really tasting much of that lingering heat which perhaps comes from the chili seeds. That certainly makes for an interesting pulao, that pachi mirchi pulao. Let's turn our attention next to that boneless chicken biryani. It's raining outside I can hear some thunder in the background. Just a perfect backdrop to be tasting food like this. That rice has oodles of flavor, and what I'm told is that they use the rice that goes into the making of the traditional Hyderabadi biryani as the base for making this boneless chicken biryani. So the boneless chicken biryani is boneless pieces of chicken that's dipped in a light batter with some Indian spices and then fried and then tossed again with that khushka or that Hyderabadi biryani rice. There's also a bit of the masala that's clinging on to that slightly pasty batter of the boneless chicken pieces. So I think if you want a bit of the masaledar jhatka, you go for some of that with every scoop of the rice. We're going to turn our gaze to that Hyderabadi chicken biryani, which is a part of the non-veg zamindar combo. Get some of the rice. What's nice is that you can distinctly identify the different color layers in the rice. So you have some rice that is not stained by the masala, you have some rice that's stained by the saffron, and some that is stained by that kachi masala as its vapors rise up through the rice, permeating the grains as this biryani cooks on dum. And that Hyderabadi chicken biryani comes with a generously proportioned single piece of the chicken. There's also some raita that's served alongside the biryanis. But to me, I like taking the maza of the biryani just by itself. You can see some of the spices that's gone into that biryani. The bay leaf. That biryani rice exudes a certain smokiness on the palate. So this is a traditional Hyderabadi style of biryani made with basmati rice. Every grain of rice is separate, every grain of rice is akha. And every grain of rice has taken on a different hue. There are some that are stained by the saffron and some that are stained by the masala. There's a bit of tartness that I'm tasting somewhere. Perhaps from the yogurt, from the dahi that goes into the making of that biryani. I think this biryani is a sort that completes your meal when you're tasting it in the happy company of those chicken appetizers. That's the sort of biryani that this is. This isn't a biryani that will blow your senses, but it makes for a tasty, satisfying sort of a biryani. I wish the masala had penetrated a bit more into that chicken. I think this is a biryani that sort of completes your meal. If you've ordered it along with the combo, you're tasting all that chicken, and then you just need some rice and some meat with some masala to complete your meal. That's really what this biryani is all about. Let's make some space on our plate though for that one biryani that I'm looking forward to savoring. This is the Gongura mutton biryani. I'm not worried about having some of the rice from the Hyderabadi biryani on my plate because I'm sure the flavors of this Gongura mutton biryani will far outsurpass that. There's a lot that's going on in this Gongura biryani. I can see the bay leaf, I can see some green chili somewhere, I can see the red chili. That rice is stained by that Gongura paste. This certainly is going to be a biryani that will perhaps outsurpass all the other biryanis that we've tasted until now in terms of its robust flavors. It's not every day that you find a curry leaf in your biryani, but then this is a Gongura mutton biryani. What you taste, the moment you place that rice in your mouth, is the sour twang of the sorrel, the Gongura. And then you can also taste some of the heat that comes from the green chilies. So I think because the sorrel is sour, they also add in other ingredients to balance that sourness. And I think there's plenty of the green chili that goes in, also with some of the curry leaf. And the curry leaf and the green chili goes into that preparation right at the beginning because that's the sort of flavors that you're tasting. You know, as you taste this Gongura mutton biryani, this immediately takes you to what one perceives of an Andhra dish. It's banging in its flavors, the sour twang of the Gongura, the heat that you get of the green chili, the flavor of the karve pappu and some of the other spices thrown in. This has all the trappings of a munchy Tollywood hit. Well, that meat is cocooned in all that masala, tender and moist inside. If So you're tasting the masala, the gongura masala in the meat. But I think what you want to do, combine it with some of that rice to add some of that munchy gongura hit. I think there are about 5 or 6 pieces of mutton in that portion there. I've just taken 2 small pieces onto my plate. The meat here is the sort that has some fat that's ribboned through it. It's a sort of texture that makes you tug on it a bit. But then that's when you know you're eating some mutton, you're eating some meat. But what makes that meat supremely interesting is when combined with the punchy flavors of that gongura rice. If you love your Andhra flavors and you love your mutton, that gongura mutton biryani is something one can definitely look at. Well, that was an enjoyable meal. Actually, not a meal, but a feast. What were some of the dishes that I will definitely return to? Well, that Kodi Kuda Chitti Gari for one. That Methi Chaman too, although quite unexpected. When they said you must try the Methi Chaman, I didn't know what to expect. I said you're an Andhra restaurant, but they said no sir, that's very popular, and I know why that is popular. If you're a vegetarian, that is definitely something you should try. I also found that Pachi Mirchi Paneer Pulao quite interesting, and that Gongura Mutton Biryani is definitely a must order. The boneless chicken biryani is nice if you're looking for something boneless, and if you're looking for a meal offering that offers great value, I think that combination of the chicken appetizers with that biryani is unbeatable. And of the 3 dishes that I tasted in the chicken appetizers, that Kodi Vepudu is something that I will definitely look for if I'm at Zamindar restaurant sometime in the future. I hope you enjoyed this takeaway episode of Gourmet on the Road. I hope that you're doing all that you can to support your neighborhood restaurants. They need your assistance, they need your support, one delicious takeaway at a time. And until the next time, take care, stay safe, and happy eating. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page. You could pledge a nominal sum and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As, and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment below. Happy eating.